Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Kris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line, where every time we step away a little bit from the other shows that I do, which is Kris Avalon Unfiltered. I've gone through so many iterations of the show, but now it is officially Kris Avalon Unfiltered. But when I do my exclusive interviews, we basically come on the line and we talk about, it's like a phone conversation or a little key moment, but normally it's with other like celebrities and influencers and stuff like that. But in this particular episode, it is with Daniel McGarrigle, who actually worked on We're Here, who came out a while ago about being essayed by Shangela from the show. Now, Shangela has denied it and all other stuff, and she has every right to. It's always Shangela's story, Daniel's story, and then there's always the truth in the middle. But the reason why I decided to do this because I saw that I had heard about this. Nobody was doing the story. I think I saw one person report on this, and this was long before the big story came out that Daniel had went to the press, and then well, not the press, but the press had found out that Daniel had, went and filed charges and all the other stuff. This was like a couple of months ago when this happened. But I have been talking about this for over a year. And then I've also had people who have when I first started talking about this, I had the whole, everybody was coming at me, getting upset over doing the thing. But my thing is this: I am, I don't make up the news, I just report it. That's all I do. So I provide, the stories. The stories is out there. We talk about it because a lot of things that goes on especially in the queer community, we don't talk enough about sexual assault. We don't talk enough about abuse and things that goes on in our community. And I've always wanted to be one of those people that not just only, do the gifts, have the gift of gab and roast and gag people and talk about celebrity news and hot topics. I also wanted to balance the show out and bring forth, situations where we sit and we talk about, real shit. So that's why I, created this show because I want to provide that balance. And so when I had reported the story and all this other stuff that was going on, someone had alerted Daniel to what I had done, and he had messaged me. It was like, "Thank you for everything." I should also say, this is viewer discretion advised and all the other stuff because it's gonna be a lot of stuff that may be a little sensitive to people. But I feel like if we all grown, some of y'all got to put your big girl panties on and listen and deal with some real shit because the world is not this safe little safety net. Sometimes it's crazy out in these damn streets, and y'all gotta be aware. So Daniel hit me up in my messenger on Instagram. It was basically like, thank you for everything. And I was like, well, if you ever want to come on this show and tell your side of the story, um, you know, I'm open. I'm whenever you're ready, you can come on and I'll provide the space for you. So that's what I always want to do as someone who has known people who have been abused sexually or been in relationships where their significant others have, you know, caused violence upon them. I wanted to, be that voice for the voiceless. So, and allow that space for those people who feel a little timid and feel like that they don't have a place where they can express themselves to come onto my show. So, things had gone dormant for a while until like maybe sometime in August, Daniel had hit me up and was like, okay, I'm ready. Because this was after he had filed the stuff. I was kind of going back and forth because I think I had gotten caught up in the matrix of, well, I didn't want to deal with the backlash of the repercussions and this, that, and the third. But then I had a talk with myself, and I'm like, wait a minute, bitch. First of all, you don't let no monkey stop you from doing whatever you need to. Like, one monkey don't stop a show. That's the phrase I'm using. It's not nothing racist or whatever. So like, we're not gonna go there. But there's an old term. You don't let one monkey stop the show. So I was not gonna let nobody, no bitch, nobody, stop me from doing what I do on this show because I work on this show. I produce the show. I pay for this damn show to be what it is. I mean, I get help from my producer, but for the most part, this Kris Avalon show is owned by yours truly. So you're not gonna come up in here and tell me what I can and cannot talk about on my own shit. Now, when you create your stuff, y'all can do what y'all can do all of that. But you're not gonna tell me what I can do over here. So I was like, let me put my speaking of big girl panties, let me put mine on and do what needs to be done. So when Daniel was like, and I've had people say, you know what, if don't let these people, whatever, because I had went and posted stuff on TikTok and people trying to come for me. You know me, I'm from New York, so I'd be ready to read a bitch and clap back. So long story short, Daniel hit me up and I was like, okay, so when you're ready, let me know. And he was like, I'm ready. And I was like, okay, so we'll schedule it. We were trying to figure out the right schedule and stuff. Finally, we scheduled it around August. I know it's 2 months later when we putting this out, but look, better late than never. It is what it is. It don't matter when stuff comes out. The story is what the story is, and it's not going to change if we dropped it back in August to October. So, we did the interview. We recorded it. It was like 30 minutes, and easy peasy. And based off of what he was telling me and from what other people have told me and slid in my DMs when I first did the story, it's like, okay, now this can't be just no damn coincidence and just somebody just being out here and making stuff up. Because to me personally, what do you gain from getting on social media or whatever and saying that said celebrity or any person, regardless. But I guess we should focus on celebrities because y'all seem to believe celebrities over victims. Celebrities could do no wrong in your eyes. When I've been in this industry long enough to know how a lot of like the cesspool of perverts, rapists, child molesters, all kinds of people roll around in this industry, and y'all look the other way for years. But for the most part, so we got together, did the interview, and it was just smooth sailing, and now it's finally here. But before we get to the actual interview, I want to play you guys this clip of when I first started talking about this last year, and then I guess we'll come back and then we'll go right to the interview. But I just wanted to lay it all out there to let you guys know what exactly it is why I decided to do this program. Is because I want to provide a safe space for people to speak their truth, regardless of who it is. And so if there's any other people out there, because I have some people that have slid up in my DMs or have even posted stuff in the comments on my social medias about things that have happened. But they haven't filed a charge. They just said like there was a grope Asian situation that happened, and this was like 10 years ago. When I guess she was famous 10 years ago. Because when did season Drag Race been on for like what 15, 16 years? So yeah, she was well known around that time. But I just want to provide a safe space, as I said before, and that more people within the queer community need to speak up when it comes to people and unwanted advances. And I know a lot of people say, well, why don't y'all say something, this and the other? Not everybody has the vocal wherewithal to be like, don't touch me, don't do this, don't do that. Or if you're inebriated, a lot of times when you're inebriated and in situations, you're not always going to have your mental situation together where you feel comfortable enough to want to say no. Because a lot of times when I was in my early 20s and I've had way too much to drink before there was even a conversation, an actual thing to the name to the conversation, whatever the case is, regards of sexual assault or people knowing that you're under the influence and they're taking advantage of you and they're doing inappropriate things to you where you don't have the mental wherewithal to be like, don't touch me, because when you're intoxicated, you don't have that energy and that power to just be like, as you would if you were sober. So I just want people, when they watch this interview, to just come in with an open mind, really take a time to like listen to what Daniel has to say and not be so quick to want to have an answer or jump to conclusions or to be negative because you don't want to believe that someone that you're a fan of, that you don't know personally, would be capable of doing what Shangela is, or Shangela DJ, whatever you want to call her, is accused of doing. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to enter this first clip, which is an old, when I first started talking about it over a year ago, and then I believe we will go right into the exclusive interview that I had with the one and only Daniel McGarrigle. So roll the clip. Sit on it because I was like, let me investigate, let me see what's going on, and let's see if the tea is actually what it is before I start running with any kind of stories. Because I know there's times, you had certain people that had the whole queen dead before she was dead, and this was eons ago. This wasn't the recent when she officially died. This was early in the year. They know who they are, and people be out here spreading false information. And then you got egg on your face. So we're just going to talk about it and then see what y'all think or whatever. So the YBF wound up posting the article. I saw it. It was sent to me like on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. I got a phone call. Just casually having a conversation with someone who works in the business. And it was like, oh, did you not hear? And I was like, hear what? And this was the tea. That there was somebody, well, yeah, this is what's going on. I was like, say what now? So then I got sent the post, his Instagram, which I'm going to read to y'all, the whole thing of what had happened. And also there was people were talking about it on Reddit, a bunch of stuff. So it says, rape allegations have been brought up against drag queen Shangela, aka DJ Pierce. Daniel McGarrigle of HBO's We're Here crew accused the RuPaul's Drag Race star of sexually assaulting him after a show filming in Louisiana. Now, the post reads as follows. Let me pull that up real quick. This is under the name that_man_Dan, saying the following. I was R-word by DJ after the episode Rap Party during an HBO series I was filming in Ruston, Louisiana. The night of the Rap Party, I was invited by Shangela to ride to the bar with her, where we met other members of the cast and crew. Once we arrived, Shangela brought me a drink. I told her I don't drink. And she said that she already bought it, so to just have one. So I did. Not long after, she buys shots for a large group of crew members, and she brings me one too. She again tells me to take the drink. Not wanting to disappoint one of the stars producers of the show, I again take the drink. This happened multiple times throughout the hour or two I was there. It wasn't long before I was feeling pretty wasted. Next thing you know, Shangela tells me that I need to come back to her room to help her pack for her flight the next day. This didn't seem at all weird because I had been tasked to help the cast and crew wherever I could. So we piled into her shuttle van and head back to her room. By the time we got to her hotel, I was feeling pretty bad. We got up to her room and I almost immediately started to feel like I'm gonna puke. I ran to her bathroom and puked in her toilet. I was super embarrassed, but he came in and started rubbing my back and acted like a friend. I was still embarrassed, but he felt like a friend at that point. Shangela then tells me that I can lay in her bed until I feel better. Since the cast hotel was different than the crew hotel and I didn't feel much like moving, I accepted. I remember crashing face first in her king bed, face buried in the cold pillow. Then I guess I passed out. I woke up to DJ on top of me, rubbing his P-word on my butthole. I said no. He then got real aggressive and told me that he know I want it and that I was gonna take it. He held me down and raped me. I tried to fight him off, but I was in no condition to fight him. I just laid there and took it. I guess I fell asleep after because I woke up to DJ pulling his bags out of the room to catch his flight. He tells me that I can stay in the room until checkout. I laid there trying to figure out what had just happened to me, and I realized I was just
great. Hashtag Ray, hashtag me too. So, I believe they had the comments and stuff turned off. I saw Hope Giselle posted OMG. Um, there's a couple of, this was the screenshot that was sent to me. And they say it's not there no more. And then I believe there was some, he had slid into Johnny Ingram's DMs and wrote the following message. So yeah, this is what we have it right now is what his whole Me Too post on his Instagram, which I know people are saying that it's not true, that DJ is one of the sweetest people, that so on and so forth. We'll get into that in a minute. So then he wrote the following. He said, "Hey, I just want to thank you for listening to me when I told you what happened to me. I could tell that you and Steven were genuinely concerned and that your first thought wasn't the show. For that, I am thankful. I know the show is your baby. I ultimately decided not pursue DJ, and the lawyers I was talking to made it very clear that they wished to pursue the company, not DJ, meaning that they're going after HBO, which is the home of We're Here. So I guess they're going after HBO Max. Don't go after him. That's not at all what I wanted, but so I dropped it altogether. But I did give notice about the advances made on me to a superior this past season, and my lawyers have my full written statement. The way that it does happen to someone else, they have the legal footing to come for the company. So I'm not a threat to the show, but that does make Shangela even more of a liability now. I can't say that I'm all surprised that she's still around. She is the poster girl for the show. I get that, but I would still start that process. Surely someone else has the same kind of presence. Anyway, it's just trying to look out for the show and to thank you for everything you've done to me these past few years. You're a huge part of why I felt like such a big part of the family. You always made me and my brother feel welcome and included, and that was definitely not overlooked. You and the family, and that family is the only person I would not take it upon myself to out DJ for what he did to me, because it would hurt my family and a show that is making a difference in my own LGBTQIA plus community. So IPC owes you a debt of gratitude as well. You created a show that we all love being a part of, and you kept us together like a family. Even on into the pandemic, when we couldn't see each other, we held rap parties and viewing parties and bingo games all via Zoom. I appreciate you. So this dies here today. And as long as DJ keeps his dick in his pants around other unwilling parties, you'll never hear about any of it again. Believe me, I hope I will never have to hear about that boy ever again. So let's hope he can behave now, since I'm sure he probably knows I've told you in the show. Anyways, I just needed you to know all of that. So this dies here today, and as long as so I read that part. Hope you are doing well. So let me know if I need to hop a plane to Sussex to hype the crowd up. Miss you all. Congratulations on the Emmys, and here's hoping for the continued success of the show and way more Emmys. And then Johnny responds by saying, "Thank you, Dan," and he says, "Anytime." So this is basically the DM. Now, what I have to say about this whole situation is this is an absolute mess. Like I was saying before, I had heard about this days before. It started getting all over the blogs, and everybody people were starting to talk about it. I know a lot of people was like, well, how come the mainstream magazines aren't talking about it? How come Out is not talking about it? How come Pink News isn't talking about it? How come Queer Tea isn't talking about it? How come Attitude isn't talking about it? How come, all these gay publications aren't bringing this up? Why aren't we talking about this? Whether or not, if it is true, this needs to be investigated. So you put it out there saying that you wanted to bury it, you don't want nothing to do with it. I'm not going to victim shame, because that's not the place. This is not the time and the place for that. But I do feel for this guy. It's like, you know what? If he's making these accusations, this needs to be something that should be investigated. This is something that is extremely serious. I know some people feel like, well, no, that's impossible. Shangela couldn't possibly do something like that. She probably is the nicest person, based on what I saw in that other post where they were saying, oh, she's the sweetest person, this, that, the other. And I'm sure all those things are true. But like I was saying, when this first fell into my lap, that I was like, oh my God, somebody actually wrote an article on it. And this was after I was literally done with the rundown last night. I was like, oh my God, it's out. And then I went and I told production, I was like, I knew about this for the past couple of days. But I was kind of like just putting it in the back. I was trying to figure out how I was going to approach it. And like I said before, now that it's out there, I got to say something. And I've met Shangela a couple of times. Lovely girl. I met a lot of the Drag Race girls. Like my years of, going to a lot of the events, being pressed, all the other stuff. But like I said, there could be people that could show you a certain side of themselves when you see them in person, but then behind closed doors, they're a whole nother person. And from what I've heard about Shangela, that, when she's had a couple of drinks, she could be a little handsy. That don't necessarily mean that handsy means that you're going to Bill Cosby them or, do something a tad bit more aggressive. That's not what that necessarily means. It just means that, there's times when you have a little too much to drink. Okay, whatever. Way more. That's great. But like I said before, I feel like to wrap this up, HBO Max is doing an investigation. I really hope this doesn't ruin the show because we're here is definitely important, especially what's going on in Middle America regarding, they have the, what do they call those people? The Proud Boys who are carrying semi-automatic weapons, parading around, invading drag queen story hours in Ohio and a bunch of other Middle America places. So it's become a dangerous time for the LGBTQ community, especially when it comes to drag queens who, they're acting like they're more terrifying than these people walking around with guns. Y'all that scared of Benson dresses? So we have that, and we have so many other things going on. Like we already have the thing in Colorado where we lost 6 lives and dozens of people were injured. There's too many things going on where LGBTQ people are being harmed. So I really feel like, hey, Sailor Mermaid, I really feel like this is definitely a time that we need to definitely sit and figure out, okay, do the investigation, figure out what's going on, and we'll see if it comes to a conclusion. I don't even know if it's going to get as big as this story that I'm telling. I don't know if HBO Max is going to investigate. The guy said that he doesn't want to press charges. You're never going to hear from him and all this other stuff. Although you did post a whole detailed situation on your Instagram, which they said was removed. I don't know. I didn't go over to his Instagram. All I know is
tea. So we're going to talk about, before I get to my main topics or whatever, there was something I need to address. So last week, I did 2 things. I did the rundown, and then I did a special On the Line episode. Because as soon as we were done with this episode of last week's episode 9 of the rundown, because this is the 10th episode, production, EJ, who was my producer, his partner DJ, who used to produce my radio show, the Kris Avalon show, basically was like, because, after we're done with the show, I don't necessarily just sign off. I sign off with y'all, but there's still a show after the show. So there's an after show that we don't tape. We just talk about the show, and we talk about a bunch of other things. So DJ brought up, he was like, did y'all hear about this Shangela situation? And started breaking it down, everything, mind you. And then I was like, I actually did hear about it because I heard it from, I think it was YBF podcast wrote the article on it. But I actually heard about the story days before. Now, I wasn't meaning no ill will to Shangela. I did not talk shit about her. I did not mean to say anything mean-spirited. But here's the thing. When something this big comes out that could be detrimental to your career and damaging, I do feel that you need to get ahead of it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if Jesus Christ came down off the cross and raped somebody. If it's true, you need to address it. Yeah, or Tamisha Iman. I said. Hold on. So I said all she need to do was get ahead of it. Now, I did speak to Daniel, the guy who made the accusations. When I posted the video on my Instagram, he basically messaged me on Instagram. He DM'd me and was like, you know what? Thank you for giving me a voice. He wanted to clarify some things. He said it did not happen during this current season. A lot of the alleged situation happened. Alleged, because you're not trying to sue my ass over no shit. I'm just reporting what is out there. It was alleged. He did slide up in the comments, and this video said, he said, I talked to the creators about what happened to me prior to that message being sent this past February, but this all happened to me in Louisiana while filming season 1, just to clarify. And he basically slid in my DMs and was like, this had happened, basically like what it said. in the earliest stages during season 1. I know a lot of people say, so why is
Oh, we're back. So yeah, that was pretty much just giving you guys a synopsis, maybe a little long-winded, but yeah, for those of you who are just tuning in the first time and haven't been paying attention to the past year, what I have been talking about this numerous episodes, production compiled all the things that, from those past episodes all together and put in a little gumbo, and that's what you got. So I wanted to give you guys just a pretty much of everything up to this final moment, which you guys are going to get in the form of the exclusive interview, which we will get to when we well, not when we come back, because we got to it's going to be in 2 parts. So we're going to play part of the thing, then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to bring you the other half. But without further ado, because I don't want to keep you guys stringing along any longer, I don't want to keep edging you all. I'm going to give you the full-on situation, including the climax. So without further ado, let's get right into this interview, my exclusive interview with the one and only Daniel McGarrigle. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Kris Avalon, and welcome to a very special episode of On the Line. Now, tonight we have a very special guest with us, so without further ado, let's please give a warm welcome to Daniel McGarrigle, who is going to talk to us about his lawsuit against former Drag Race and We're Here star DJ Shangela Pierce. So, let's bring him on in. Hello, sir. How are you?
Doing good.
Okay, so I just want to say this before, preface this by saying, before we get started, I just want to thank you for agreeing to do this interview and trusting me with your story. And just know that you are in you're in a safe space, you're in safe hands. So, however everybody else receive it, that's on them. But as long as you get your story out there, this is the platform that I'm, that it's a safe space to do that. So thank you for being a part of the show and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get right into some things now. Before we get to, all the meat and potatoes and why we're all here, I just want to let everybody get a little insight into your background. So,
I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. I moved to New York City to pursue my career in television. I'm an associate producer. I'm a talent wrangler, talent PA, production assistant. As a freelancer, so I bounce all around from company to company. So,
And how did you get started with We're Here?
I had just finished up a show called Man vs. Bear. I happened upon an ad on Staff Me Up, said that they were looking for somebody in New Mexico, and we did such a good job in New Mexico. They hired myself and a couple of my friends and my brother back for the remaining episodes of season 1.
Okay. And once you got the gig on We're Here, what exactly was your position on the show?
I was hired as a production assistant, but I got kind of thrown into like a driver and kind of assistant for the queens themselves.
Okay. And did you actually know DJ, prior to the show and all this other stuff, or was being on We're Here the actual first time that you two met?
No, we had met before. My friend Todrick did a music video called Doll Hairs, and I was actually Shangela's stunt double because she couldn't drive a stick shift, so I drove the milk truck in that video in her wig and fur. But we had
Oh.
just briefly met, barely.
Okay. So once you've been working on the show and did all the episodes and everything, and all that happened, walk us through what happened the night of the incident. Like, how did it all play out? Like, let us know what the room smelled like, all that, just as much detail as you possibly can get into. Just give us an insight into that.
Well, it was show night, so after the show wrapped, there was a plan in the works for everybody to meet at a bar there in Ruston, and we were gonna have like our rap party. We had been doing like rap parties for each town. We did one in New Mexico, and the plan was to do one there in Ruston, and so we all made a plan to meet up at the bar. I made it my own plan with Shangela. She said that I could ride with her in her shuttle to the bar, which I thought was probably a good idea. So I wouldn't have to drive. So I met at their hotel, the Cast Hotel, and rode over with her van driver and her. And we went to the bar itself. We hung out with some of the crew members. She bought me a drink, or a couple of drinks, and a few shots with other crew members throughout the night. And then she said that I needed to come back and help her pack because she had to leave early in the morning. And so that didn't really seem too out of the ordinary. I had been kind of helping with all kinds of things. So I went back to the hotel with her in the van. I started to feel sick in the van. And by the time we made it back to the hotel, I was really feeling like I was going to throw up. And so the first thing pretty much that I did as soon as I got into her room was go to her toilet, and I started throwing up. And she acted like a friend. She rubbed my back. She brought me a glass of water. I actually felt kind of comfortable with the situation because she was acting like a friend. And then she said that she knew I was staying at the crew hotel and it was a little ways away. She didn't think I was in condition to drive, so that she said I could lay in her bed until I felt better. And I did. I just went and crashed in her bed, just kind of face first in my clothes, face in the pillow, and I guess I passed out. And then the next thing I remember is waking up to like wet and like really, really strong like smell. And I was realizing that something had been poured down the back of my neck and side of my face. And I think it was poppers. Pretty sure it was poppers. It smelled like poppers. But, it was burning, and it was burning my eyes and nose. And I tried to wipe it off and get it off as quick as I could. But it was either that or a combination of just being drunk, and I didn't really know what was going on at first, but I realized pretty quickly that my pants were down and that he was rubbing himself on my butt, and he tried to put himself into me, and I tried to get out from under him and tried to fight him off, but I wasn't able to get him off of me. I was too weak from the alcohol or the poppers or a combination. I don't know, but I couldn't fight him off, and I guess I passed out again because I don't remember anything after that, or I blacked it out now. I don't know, but the next thing I remembered after that was waking up to him dragging his bags out of the room, and he noticed that I had woke up, and he said that I could stay in the room until checkout. And I just kind of laid there and tried to figure out what had happened, you know.
So he pretty much acted like nothing happened after the whole situation.
Yeah, like it was normal. Like I was going
Now,
to be
was there?
there.
Oh, sorry. Was there any penetration?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now, one of the things I've been noticing, because here's the thing, when I first covered this story, I don't know if anybody else covered the story. I don't follow a lot of other bloggers, this and the third, but when I first came around, and that was when you first reached out to me, that I had covered your story, because a lot of people weren't doing it. Because I guess, when we're in a certain space, especially when it comes to Drag Race being the only mainstream show to highlight drag queens on network television, people go out of their way to try to protect people. But if a story comes out and we hearing things and somebody is making accusations, I feel like the conversation should be had. And people tried to come for me on social media. And at one point I was going to be like, should I go there? Should I not go there? But like I said earlier in the show, this is a place where I like to allow people the opportunity to express and to tell their side of the story. And then if Shangela wants to come on, she can do the same thing. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, why did you wait so long to come out and say, bring all this up? When this happened in season 1, when we're about to go into season 4. We can talk about, I have, the question regarding, we'll talk about season 4 later on. But yeah, so playing devil's advocate for the people that are probably going to try to run up in here and say some mess, why now?
I was scared of losing my job. It wasn't just myself. It was myself, my brother, my friends. I had all gotten jobs on the show, and I thought if I came out about it, that they would probably figure out a way to get rid of us all, and that was our livelihood. At the time, one of my friends was having a baby and needed the job, so I just kind of kept quiet and just continued to stay quiet through a whole nother season. And then I just kept seeing Shangela being regarded as like a hero, and articles saying that she's exactly what we need right now, and it just kept triggering me and upsetting me. So I came out on my social media and decided that it was time that I said something, and that I was no longer with the show at that point, so there's nothing that really was holding me back anymore.
And when did you leave the show?
In 2021.
So you were was that just the first season, or
That was
after season 1?
Season 2.
Okay. So now the show is owned by HBO, Warner Brothers, Warner Media, that sort of thing. Did you go to them and speak to them about what had happened? And if so, what exactly did they tell you when you came forward with the accusations?
I did go. I came forward to the creators of the show first, and they seemed to be receptive and seemed like they believed me and were going to help me. And the next thing I knew, I was getting a call from the HR department and some lawyer that said that she wasn't exactly representing anybody at that very moment, but it felt very weird to me. It felt like I was kind of being attacked. They had a lawyer, I didn't. They were asking me questions that felt more self-serving for them than it was for getting to the bottom of what happened to me. And so I stopped talking to them until I secured a lawyer. And then I let them know that I had a lawyer and that I'd be willing to talk again. And they must have reached out to my lawyer, and he said that he'd only be willing to talk through litigation or whatever. And they just didn't want to talk anymore after that. So.
Yeah, because pretty much like anything when it comes to networks, like we're seeing it now with Bravo and a lot of the reality stars that have been working with them, and all the recent lawsuits with Bethany Frankel. A lot of times these networks are all about themselves, so they're only gonna, so if anything is going on regarding, stuff that's happening on a show that they're producing and this, that, and the third, what they're gonna do is they're gonna put their attorneys in a situation and focus on how they can protect themselves from any, legalities and all this other stuff. They're not thinking about the people that work on these shows and people that work behind the scenes. They'll do whatever they can to protect their talent to a certain point, but for the most part, a lot of these attorneys are just all about trying to protect their brand and their network and make sure that they don't get in any kind of trouble. Now, I have another question. Did you endure any form of intimidation or online bullying from Shangela's fans since going public with this?
Her fans, oh yeah. In the very beginning, her fans were very brutal and just pretty much called me a liar, a clout chaser, said that I was looking for money. They kept asking why I didn't say anything. And I was trying to protect our own community. So I was feeling very attacked by the people that I was trying to help protect by not saying anything. I wanted this show to be a success because it was changing the lives of so many people. And I felt super attacked by those same people. And it was brutal. It's gotten better. I feel like I have a lot more support now online than I did in the beginning. I think because of the receipts and things that I posted, my conversations with the creator, letting them know what happened or alluding to the conversation that we had, letting them know what happened to me, the fact that there are other people out there that this has happened to. I'm not alone. I've been approached many other people after the fact through my social media that had very similar
and I feel like that also is what made me come around to not your story per se, but because of in the beginning when I went and I did the video on TikTok and stuff, I got so much backlash and people were pissed off at me covering a story. And when I saw people were sliding in the DMs and in the conversation saying that I know somebody that said that this is the same situation this has happened to, allegedly, I'll say that because, still this is a pending situation. So I'm putting a lot of allegedlys in here. Because she ain't gonna try to come for me. But with that being said, that just made me feel like, okay, now this is definitely a story that needs to be told, and this is something that, okay, so it's not just one person that's come out and saying this. And like I said before, the problem is that particularly in the LGBT, or we'll just say gay community. I don't know. I can't speak for lesbians. I can't speak for the bis, and I can't speak for the trans. But as regarding our gay community, we hear so many stories about men being abused, men being sexually assaulted, men afraid to come forward, especially when it's somebody who's in a place of power. So, like I said earlier, I appreciate you for coming on and telling us your story. Okay, so how do you feel about the recent reports that Priyanka Jada Essence Hall and Sasha Velour will be the new co-host or judge? Is it co-host judges? I guess the new queens to be on the upcoming 4th season of We're Here. And do you think your lawsuit may have been the reason for this cast change?
I'm excited for the change. I think it's really cool. That they're going to give 3 new queens an opportunity to make a change in the world. I think it was awesome, with Bob and Eureka. And I feel bad if my lawsuit affected Bob and Eureka in any kind of way. I don't think that's the case because I knew that the first 3 queens were only signed to a 3-season contract. So I don't know if that was always in the works or if my lawsuit has affected that at all, but I hope not, because I hope it didn't affect Bob and Eureka in any way negative. They were amazing people, and I really enjoyed working with them.
Yeah, because I saw a recent interview with Eureka, and she said that she actually loves doing the show, that the show changed her life in a lot of ways. So it could have been that what you're saying is that there was a 3-contract deal, and then maybe if you re-up. Hey. So, yeah, for those of you who are watching, definitely leave your comments and stuff in the comment section. of the E2. And we're gonna take us to the 90-second commercial break, and we'll come back with the rest of the show. But before we do, I wanted to elaborate on something, or a little correction. So when we did the interview back in August, we hadn't heard that there was a slight change up in the upcoming season. We're here, so we had, excuse me, Sasha Velour, Jada Essence Hall, and Priyanka were joining the cast, but what we didn't know at the time was that Latrice Royale will be joining the show as well. So they got 4 queens on this upcoming season, and I also believe, because I've been learning so much about the whole writer strike, actor strike, and stuff. A lot of times they have them do the 3-year contract, because after 3 years, if you re-up, they have to pay you more money. So they try to do the whole 3-year contract, because then there's that little loophole where they don't have to pay you more. So that's, I believe, why they did the whole cast change, where they didn't want to pay them. But also, I think maybe it might also Shangela decided to step down because of the accusations and stuff. But I guess we'll never know which is the reality of the situation. But anyway, let's take a break, a little 90-second break, and we'll come back with the rest of my exclusive interview with Daniel McGarrigle.
Yeah, I mean, I when I always say this, like, I came out of the womb kind of singing and dancing. So, like, you know, ever since I was a little kid, I just remember being, you know, am I going off the screen? I'm trying to find my
one point we met in person, and I mean, he seemed cool, all right, but at the same time, I felt, yeah, he was playing that same role that you kept seeing for decades of a black porn actor. He was this big guy who, you know, gym body and bald and dark skin. I mean, that's the mold that they seem to make of black males in gay porn, where they're featured with white and light skin Latino porn actors.
That's gonna sort of like equate that, especially being in like my 40s. I need to catch up. You know, I need to like start putting some money away. I need to start thinking about things. And I wasn't going to do that going back to school and getting my master's degree in education for the New York City, you know, Department of Education. I wasn't going to, you know.
Hola. So hopefully you enjoyed that little break where it was basically showing my interviews. I know I was speaking to a lot of my followers, and I was saying, like, I was kind of asking them, I was like, should I do more interviews? And they were like, yeah, you should probably do some more. So I'll probably be doing a lot more interviews. Well, though I ain't making no promises, in the words of old girl Keely from 3LW. But if I need to, I may do a lot more interviews within the coming months. So just in case, be on the lookout for that. But also, if you guys are new for the first time, you know, watching this video, definitely like and subscribe down below. Leave your comments, all that good stuff. We don't just do serious topics over here. We also talk, you know, my show is basically rooted in entertainment news. We talk about LGBT stuff. We talk about stuff that's going on in the community pertaining to people of color. And we talk a lot of, celebrity news and gossip, all that good stuff. So, Yeah, so if you are watching, definitely follow and like and subscribe and stuff. And also follow me on all my social media platforms. It is the Kris Avalon _ and all that good stuff. Then so now after all that self promotion, let's get right into the rest of my exclusive interview with the one and only Daniel McGarrigle right here on this episode of On the Line. Warner Brothers, because of course they went through a whole regime change, they weren't willing to fork over extra money to keep the talent around. And plus, Bob's about to go on tour with Madonna, so he's about to be fine.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so legally, what can you share with us regarding the state of your lawsuit?
It's still pending. I wish I could tell you. I feel kind of in the dark myself on what's going on most of the time. It's in the process. I know we're going back and forth with his lawyers and the lawyers from the production company as well. So, but I don't really know what's going on, to be honest.
Okay, and have you heard from
Along
DJs?
for the ride.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said I'm just kind of along for the ride like everybody else. I don't know what's going
Okay.
on behind those doors.
And have you heard from DJ since the lawsuit has gone public?
No, I wouldn't want to. But there's nothing he can say to me that will make it right or fix anything. I just assume never talk to him again.
Mm-hmm. And should the lawsuit basically go in your favor, what are you hoping to gain from, everything?
The criminal investigation, I hope it comes to fruition. I filed that report back in November and still haven't heard anything back from the Ruston Police Department in regards to anything being turned up or anything happening with that. Hopefully it does. That's ultimately what I hope happens, because I think when somebody does this to somebody, they deserve to be punished in a criminal way. I went forward with civil charges because I felt like nothing was happening with the criminal charges, and I felt like I was being ignored and that the company was trying to sweep it under the rug. And so I found a lawyer, and he said that he would help protect me from or help me with interviews and protect me from saying something that could get me in trouble. But he also said that he wanted to represent me in a case against them. And I read about him. He seemed like he was kind of a heavy-hitting kind of guy who's dealt with celebrities before. So I went with them. To be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I kind of know how he ended up at my doorstep, but I was reaching out to lawyers and was not finding anybody who specifically covered my kind of case or had the free time or could take that kind of a caseload. And then one of the guys that I had called, one of the lawyers I had called, reached back out to me and said that he might know somebody who would be perfect for my case. And he put me in touch with Dan Gillian. And after reading about him, I think he's probably the best thing for me, considering, she went with the guy, I forget what her attorney's name or his attorney's name is, but he's the guy who represented Prince Andrew in the Epstein thing. So I mean, I feel like I need somebody.
I don't know if that's a good look to be getting somebody that represented Prince Andrew of all people.
I mean, I kind of feel the same way, but that he's a good lawyer. So I mean, I understand wanting to have a good lawyer.
I mean, there's a bunch of good lawyers. McGarrigle, but he's probably busy with Bethany Frankel and some other people. But I always say the type of attorney you pick kind of says a whole lot about you. Allegedly. I'm put it out there. I'm just play dumb and just say allegedly. But anyway, so you did say earlier about that there were some people that said that this had happened to them. What had happened to you happened to them, and they reached out to you. Have you reached out to those people in regards of asking them to be a part of your case to help make your case feel, to give a little more fat to the case, I should say?
A lot of them agreed to talk to the police investigators and in Ruston. A couple of them agreed to talk to reporters that were doing stories about the whole situation, and also give permission to my lawyer, Dan Gillian, to include them in their case. But I don't know if any of that's happening. They all told me that I could pass that information along, and I did. And I don't know what's happening with that info, though.
Okay.
Once I gave their names and numbers over to the authorities and the powers that be, I don't know what happened with that info.
Okay. Anything else you want to add before we go? Because I think we're at the end of our questions.
I'm just happy to be able to talk about it. I really do feel like something's going on in a way of trying to sweep it under the rug, because I feel like, it's for something that was all over a bunch of news outlets. There's a lot of people who have no idea that it's even happening still. So it's very weird to me. So I'm glad to be able to sit and talk to you and actually, get it all out and answer some of those questions that people have been asking, because I get it. I mean, I understand, there's a lot of people out there who are looking for their next payday or whatever, but that's just not me. That's not me. I don't.
Yeah, because I don't think from your lawsuit at all, you've actually asked about financial compensation. You asked money. Like, if there was stuff in there where it stated that, I could understand other people's argument, but people got to stop being so quick to jump to. I just feel like when people say, oh, you're doing this for clout, oh, you're doing this for this, doing this for that, it's such a lazy read. It's just so lazy of people when they're so quick to jump on that. And it's just like, whatever happened to the point of just asking people the questions, listening to the facts, and then just making up your own mind in regards of what you feel may be true and what may not be true. Like, people could probably watch this interview and probably call you a damn liar. It is what it is. I don't give a damn. The fact of the matter is, you said what you said your piece, it's out there, and people could do with the tea what they will. You can't control how you feel. But I have way more to lose.
Way more to lose than I have to gain from this. My whole career, my livelihood is tied up into this. Like, who's going to hire a guy who falsely accuses somebody of rape? Like, why would I do that? That just would screw over it still might screw over my entire career. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this plays out for somebody in my position. I do know that I've felt attacked by the company that I thought would protect me in this situation. So I don't know.
Yeah, and also, and the funny thing is, I was going to ask you, because you said this lawsuit may affect your career, and we've seen that this has happened to a lot of people. When people come forward with things who work in the industry, unless it gets to a point where it's a Harvey Weinstein or a Kevin Spacey or that sort of thing, the pendulum swings the other way, where it goes against, and then the person who would be considered like a producer, whatever the case is, actor, is vindicated. That's what I was going to ask, if there's any projects that you've been working on since the lawsuit came out, because I was going to ask you to give you the opportunity to plug your upcoming projects, but you said that this whole lawsuit is tied up into your case. So I don't know what's going on in regards of the entertainment gig front, or on the entertainment gig front.
Not a whole lot. I'm in Alaska. I don't feel comfortable working for big corporations now because of the way that I was treated by this particular big corporation. I only work on shows now that my friends have hired me on, or people that I know work on, so that I feel like I have a support system, because I felt like I had zero support. I was just a number to HBO and the production company. So, obviously they did not care too much about me. So Now I only work with friends, and currently I'm an ATV guide in Alaska. So kind of gave up on television for the most part after all this. There's, it's got to put a bad taste in my mouth. The politics and the drama and craziness of television, I could do without, to be honest.
I definitely feel you on that. All right, so Daniel, I just want to say once again, thank you for coming on to my show, On the Line. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and everything you're doing, because once you said to me, you hit me, or you was like, I'm ready to talk, because I didn't know where this was going. I didn't know like how long it was going to take with the whole legal situation, what you could say, what you couldn't say. So when you said you was ready, I was like, oh, time to jump on it, even though I'm supposed to technically be on vacation. From doing the entertainment stuff until the fall, the whole fall season thing. But anyway, so once again, I appreciate you for coming on. Definitely want to say thank you for trusting me with your story. I don't know what this, will do. All I want with this show, basically, I can't say I don't know what I want. I do know what I want. What I want is, if, whenever a situation comes out, especially when I'm always talking about abuse or assault of things that goes on, a lot of taboo things in our community, it needs to be talked about. Whether or not, how it all plays out, for those, if there's been people out there who've been in your situation, I just want them to feel brave enough to be willing to come forward and tell their story, whatever it is, and then go and hold their person who assaulted them and abused them accountable for what they've done. So that's what I'm hoping that people take from this thing, is like, just listen, learn something different, come to your own conclusions. But also, if there's somebody out there who has been assaulted and has been through any form of abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, whatever the case is, that this show provides that space for you to feel brave enough to come forward with your own situation. So once again, thank you for coming and speaking your truth.
Thank you for having me.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the full exclusive interview with the one and only Daniel McGarrigle. And once again, I just want to say, if he is watching, thank you for trusting me with your story and coming on and telling your story. Now, it's up to you guys whether or not you want to believe him. We're not putting a gun to your head and telling you what's what. All I'm doing is, I did the interview. He said what he said. The information is out there. Do what what you will. And for those of you out there who, if you have been in a situation, that's my camera. If you have been in a situation similar to Daniel's or something like that, if you've been abused in any kind of way, don't be afraid to speak up. Because I remember when I posted the promo for the show when it was coming up on my Facebook, I had somebody slide in the comments and basically said that a similar situation, as I alluded to earlier in the show, that something had transpired where there was an abuse situation that went down, or not even an abuse situation, where it was just there. Shangela grabbed their junk, basically is what they said, at, I believe, at like a Pride event 10 years ago or something or another. So these things are happening. It's going on out there. People, I don't think, are just pulling files out their own ass to want to expose people on stuff. So it is what it is. There you have the tea. And what I also want to say, October 10th is National Mental Health Day. So I feel like, we should basically provide you guys out there with information. I think it's also Pride History Month or something or another too. I was hearing something or another about that. It's, every month seems to be a month that we celebrate, child. But yeah, the October 10th is National Mental Health Day. If anything, you want to, get some information, definitely check out mentalhealth.org.uk. We also have the National Sexual Assault Hotline that you guys can call, which is 800-656-HOPE, which would be 4673. That is 800-656-HOPE. which would be 4673. And then we have the the SAMHSA, I guess that's SAMHSA, National Suicide and Substance Abuse Hotline, which you could text 988. They have the Crisis Text Hotline, where you could text home to 741-741, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of information that we can provide out there. It's also, you can check out the scroll down below, which let you know all the the hotlines and the numbers that you guys, and the websites that you can contact if you are going through some things, whether it's mental health issues, if you're feeling suicidal. We have the Trevor Project with queer people as well. So definitely, as I said before, this is a space where I want to provide people to come on and tell their stories, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm glad that Daniel felt safe enough to do that here. So on that note, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Tune in next Saturday for a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered, where we will get into some things regarding what's the latest in entertainment news and all that good stuff. It's a long form show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, and where we talk about entertainment news and hot topics, and all things pop culture. So once again, thank you all for watching today's show. Love you all for watching, and until next time, ciao, darlings.
This is for faggots.